Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and in this week's Spotlight on Story, we're going to be talking about, well, the mother effing Spider-Man video game that just came out. All right, listen, full disclosure, I absolutely did not actually watch this, all right? I didn't play this game, I should say. I don't have time, and to be quite frank, I'm not really that good at video games, all right? I dated this girl one time. She had these two little brothers, and they're like, "Oh, so we heard that you're, pretty good at the martial arts." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at the martial arts, It's like, "All right, you want to play kung fu?" I'm like, "I know the Japanese martial arts." And like, "No, no, 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 the video game." So they put in some kind of Nintendo kung fu video game. Wipe the frickin' floor with me. Talking about, "You're not that good." I looked at this kid like, "I'm about to take you outside and school you, son." Like, I am not that good at video games. I don't even know what else to tell you, man. So, yeah, I wouldn't be any good with a playthrough or anything. But, like, I can't seem to do this stupid thing. But I did watch somebody else's playthrough. Chris Smoove, it's the first time I ever heard of the guy, which, surprising, he's got millions. I said millions of subs. So he went and did this. One of my subs, I don't remember who, but thank you, suggested to go and check this out. So, okay. So he had like 24 playthroughs or something like that, videos on playthroughs. It was a lot. Anyhow, I will recommend to go and check those out. He's pretty cool. He says cheese a lot. That's a little annoying. Needs a couple extra catchphrases. That being said, let's just get right into this, dude. So, this video game, PlayStation 4, that's how it's available. I don't know if it's available on any other platforms. Not my business. Not my business. We started off with the tutorial, which is basically the Kingpin mission. So you go through this entire building to get after the Kingpin. He's gone too far this time. You got to fight the Kingpin. And this is actually good because I'm thinking to myself, this guy's like a major boss, but he himself isn't that tough. It's all that other stuff. Look, if this were Daredevil going against this guy, I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? This would be a much, much better mission. Much better individual battle. But right now, it's absolutely a tutorial for Spider-Man. Like, come on, So, the beatdown persists, and Kingpin goes to jail, and what does he say? He says, prophetic facts. He's like, dude, I give it a month before the power vacuum in this city just overcomes everybody. The police force ain't going to be handling it. Nobody's going to be able to handle it. He was right. He was right. Like, he's looking at a little crystal ball, talking about Harry Potter and Newman, whatever, what was that? Newton? Whatever, the other kid from the Harry Potter movie. Get out of here. Your prophecies mean nothing. This is the prophecy. So he's sitting there with the tarot cards and just laid out facts. It was true. It was true. So now we're going to get the, we just get Spider-Man swinging through the city, and this is open world. Now, I've seen stuff like this before. I played, obviously, I played like MMOs like this, not just Skyrim, but Daggerfall. I played the original Daggerfall. Never played Arena proper from way, way, way back in the Wayback Machine, but I have played Daggerfall when it first came out. One little CD-ROM, whatever, and just expansive world, but there wasn't a lot to do in the world. You could break into a house, but all the houses were pretty much the same. There was like nothing to really take or steal. There was nobody really around. It was just ridiculously huge. That's cute. Oblivion did it a whole lot better. I skipped Morrowind. Sorry. Played Oblivion. That was much better because for the most part, the houses were pretty much different. And Skyrim, all that good stuff. But this reminded me more of an Incredible Hulk game that I played. I guess it was on Xbox back in 2009, 2010, something like that, where you just go around the whole city and climb up the walls as the Hulk. You like fingers breaking through the walls and climbing up and busting things up, and yeah, it was pretty cool. I never actually beat the game, but you can get a whole bunch of different costume changes and whatnot. It was, it was a lot of fun. Very expansive world, and I always thought to myself, all they got to do is maintain the cityscape, and they could do pretty much any superhero that they want, and more than that. So as I'm watching this video game being played, and Spider-Man's just swinging through the city, and he's doing his Spider Cop routine, which I thought was freaking hysterical. That was great to add to this. Watanabe, what's she, Captain here, like in the comic books, I guess. it's funny, a lot of these characters were completely inspired by Dan Slott. So if you guys love this video game, all I'm saying is, what was it, like 11 years, 12 years, something like that, Dan Slott had been doing Spider-Man. It was more than 10 years. Dude, he inspired a whole lot, including Mr. Negative. He created Mr. Negative, you know, and I believe Watanabe. So, just saying. So, what he does is, Spider-Man is going all throughout the city, and I'm reminded of all these other video games, and I think to myself, all they got to do is take this original platform here and maybe expand on it just a little bit more. Make it so you can actually go inside of some of these buildings as you're creating more and more of this video game world. Don't change things up, add to it. So keep that cityscape, improve on it a little bit more, you know. Maybe put the X-Mansion in Central Park. Not even necessary, whatever, just say. But you could just add a couple things. Here's Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum that you can actually go in and interact with Doctor Strange. That would be kind of cool. But you want to wait until you actually do a Doctor Strange game, by all means. Dude, I'm looking at this game and the expansions, horizons in my head are just, boom, they're going all over the place, dude. Make a Doctor Strange game where he's actually, where the next game that you make, let's say a Daredevil game, you can actually go inside the Sanctum Sanctorum and hang out with Doctor Strange, and there'll be a whole bunch of different things that you can do and get yourself in trouble. You know, doing. Obviously, Kingpin's place is going to be a big deal. You could just make this a series where each one continues and bites off of the previous one and sets up the next one, much like the MCU, much like the regular Marvel Cinematic Universe by Kevin Feige. I don't think it would even take that much. Dude, I would love to sit down and just plan out how all these video games are going to be written so that they could lead into the next one. And they're all going to take place in New York City anyway. How sick would that be? You do a Doctor Strange game, there are magic monsters everywhere. You got to fly around with your cloak of levitation and otherwise and try and, you know, gather a couple more magical items, tomes, you know, tomes and things like that, and figure out what's going on. But like New York City can change the skylight, like just, you know, change colors and things like that. Have new things come at you, but you're using the exact same cityscape that you used for this game, Spider-Man. Oh, God. I would love that idea. And of course, when you do Daredevil, again, same game. Keep the extra modifications so that you can hang out in the city and you know, oh wow, hey, I can go inside the Sanctum Sanctorum. And Doctor Strange will talk about the game that his game that he was just in and his mission. Meanwhile, we can see, and now at this point, we can see New York City in the middle of the night, where Daredevil can start using his radar sense all the time, and just, that'd be great. And just make a Hulk game where now the city can actually be destroyed. Just do whatever, man, and just keep on having fun. That would, they've got that cityscape. It was gorgeous. It was realistic. It's like I was there. Keep on expanding that cityscape, and then keep on making those video games. Boom, done. You got a series of hit after hit after hit coming up. Man, what could they do with Thor? So, you see that, what is this, New Suit Smile. Okay, I don't remember why I wrote New Suit 5 Mile. I don't know, maybe that was like 8 Mile. There was a reference for, I don't remember. There was a lot of freaking playthroughs, man, a lot of playthroughs. So, New Suit 5 Mile, I don't know. I don't remember why I did that. But Martin Lee and Aunt May had this feast organization that he's got going. That's pretty much exactly what Martin Lee does. That's Mr. Negative. By the way, guys, go ahead and check out all of my Spider-Man characters that I did, that I explained in a minute. I put them all in the description box, so go and check those guys out if you're curious about any of these characters. Recommend more characters for me to do. More than happy to. But you get to see Martin Lee before you get to meet Mr. Negative, which is perfect, because Martin Lee is actually really good people. He's really good guy. He's the exact polar opposite of his evil version of himself. So Aunt May, this was cool. I didn't like her at first because I'm just looking at her. I'm like, that's not Marissa Tomei. No. There are no other Aunt Mays at this point. There's only Marissa Tomei. And then, yeah, of course, I wound up really liking her because it is a different version. It's a different universe. What is this? The Earth 1048, I think this universe is called. So they go to the museum. There are a bunch of demons there. The demons are going to be a continuous thing. And here's something that's interesting. I don't know if there are supposed to be some DLCs, and I didn't see the DLCs for this. But in the recent Spider-Geddon issue number 0, I got that here someplace. Spider-Geddon issue number 0, where they first introduce the comic book version of, here he is, the regular Spider-Man that you saw, this guy right here. In this, you get to see, he talks about fighting Nazi bees. So I guess that's in the DLCs. So whatever, we didn't get to see that in the game itself, this particular walkthrough. But he does fight a whole bunch of demons, and this is the theme all throughout. And there are going to be a couple other people to fight too, groups and whatnot. And of course, there are regular thugs and gangs and things like that. I like that there were bought police in the Kingpin's tutorial in the beginning. That was awesome, because I'm just like, nah, they're phony. They're not real cops. You know, Chris, when he was looking at the stuff, he was saying the same. Well, he was saying something similar. I was like, no. This is the Kingpin. He bought some of these guys. He absolutely did. You know, like maybe their suit's gonna get torn off and it's gonna say, you know, I work for the Kingpin. Whatever. It's gonna be something like that, right? And yeah, they turned on him. So that was perfect. Mary Jane in this was pretty cool. She has so many stealth missions, it's insane. But she's in that one restaurant, and all of a sudden you realize that Stan Lee owns the restaurant. So Stan Lee got himself a nice little cameo in the video game. Perfect. Bellissimo. All right? The name of the restaurant was Mix, so that was interesting. Shocker was in this a couple of times. I like the idea of having the Shocker in here, and he wasn't a pushover, which was interesting, because he's got an amazing gadget skill set, awesome powers, and he's always just getting punked down. That just always makes me sad, you know? But I dugs it. What is this? Stealth Officer Joe! Spider-Man has to do his own stealth mission at this point, and you meet up with Officer Jefferson Davis, and that's Miles Morales' dad. The whole time I could tell that this Chris Smoove guy, fun to watch his previews, but he's not a comic book fan. All right, he doesn't read the comic books. He has no idea what the frag is going on here, you know? So as soon as I saw, he's like, Officer Jeff Davis, I'm like, that's Miles' dad. That's an awesome Easter egg. And then later on, they introduce Miles, and then they say, yeah, that's my dad. You get to see his mom a little bit. What's interesting is the men had amazing facial features in this game, and the women mostly looked like they were Botoxed. You know, they would talk, you know, a little bit like this, and it'd be a little like Mary Jane had a lot more facial features than everybody else. Aunt May after that, but that said and done, none of the females had any real facial movement. They all had like Botox in their face, you know. But the men, meanwhile, had a lot of facial movement. So that was something I noticed. That was interesting. Let's see. Next part of the page. Save Fisk's Men, the original helicopter. Yeah. So from the original trailer that we saw months ago, when I saw this, and I saw in the comments sections, people were like, who's this guy that he's fighting? Who's this black and white dude that he's fighting? This is sick, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. I was like, these guys don't know Mr. Negative? Well, I think I should explain this in about a minute. So I made the explained in a minute, and that one blew up. A whole bunch of people just like, oh my God, this is awesome. Thank you for giving me this information. You're welcome. More than happy to, brother. That's what I do. So, what happened? Obviously the trailer was mixed up a little bit. They threw in the idea that he was actually going to fight Mr. Negative in this scene. So I'm waiting for that to happen. It didn't happen. Like, he didn't even show up. So I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. But, you know, the helicopter scene, that's where, that's right there. I'm telling you right now, that's where I wouldn't be able to get past the game. I'd be like, I can't. I'm pretty good at playing MMOs on the PC. You know, I got a whole desktop over here. I'm pretty good at playing, you know, these things. But, like, you know, you're soloing and you're teaming up with people, and you gotta, It's just spammy key, just head roll, face roll, bunch of stuff, you know? But games like that where you're constantly going back and forth with the same trigger buttons and no, I'd be like, I'm gone. I'm out. I'd rather go sit down and just read a book, you know? Like the Batman book that just came out, the not the Batman Who Laughs, what is it? The Killing Joke. The Killing Joke novel just came out. I think I should go and check that one out. Maybe there'll be a spotlight on story one of these days. But we have Mayor Osborn, and he's commemorating Miles's dad, Jefferson Davis. This is always curious. Mayor Osborn. We have Mayor Fisk in the comic books right now as we're speaking, September 2018. And now in the video game, we got Mayor Osborn. What is, and it's mostly America. You know, once in a while you'll see it someplace else like Italy. Once in a while you'll see something like that when there's no better choices. But what is the obsession that America has with trying to get rich people into the presidency? Like, it's a ridiculously small percentage of people. Of the 1% in America, 0.0005% of those people have actually made their own wealth, created their own wealth, like Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a self-made millionaire. Most of the millionaires out there are not self-made. They've inherited their money. Donald Trump is one of them. Couldn't have done that by himself. It's impossible for him to have done what he did by himself. You know, massive amounts of loans from his father that he never had to pay back because it's his father, and like just he's still earning off a trust fund, dude. Like, what is America's obsession with rich people? Like, who's next for president? Paris Hilton? Is she going to be our first president? Also another inherited. Yeah, she did a bunch of cool things. The Kardashians, they did a bunch of cool things, but like, it's with other people's money. What the frick, man? What is our obsession with people who have inherited a trust fund? We want to put these little silver spoon babies in political office. What is going on? So I saw Mayor Osborn, and in my head, I'm just like, oh, God, why? So, okay, but it's so realistic. That's what's so sad about it. It's so realistic. I could see people voting for him. Well, he's rich. He must know what he's doing. It's not how it works. What is this? The oh, geez, yeah. When Mr. Negative's crew goes out, and they're a bunch of the suicide guys there, and they just they blow up the place. Spider-Man gets jacked up. He's mildly contused. Miles gets jacked up. Then he's got to get up and go save his mom because, duh. He's like, I can't believe she left her son. That I can't believe. I got to go find your father. But you found your son. So why don't you stay with your son? Have you never heard of concussions before? Really? So, yeah, she left and then he had to go and rescue her. He went to try and go after his father too. It was way too late. Way too late. He was dead when the bomb went off, and that was sad, man. Oh, wow, that was sad. But he did die a hero, so I guess there's that. And then later on, the situation where he's working in Feast, and that one dude, the one bum, goes and, you know, cracks wise on his dad like that, not realizing that he's talking to that guy's son. That's just, oh, man. Talk about eating your words. A big old hunk of slice of humble pie. Take that, man. Just intravenously, you know? But all of that was good. Such amazing storytelling in this. Wow. So, what is this? Oh yeah, after all that crazy stuff, and you get to play Miles. I love that you get to play all these different characters. I'm surprised they didn't make us play Aunt May, and she's got to go around and start feeding people. You know, like, make a sandwich. Let's do the Aunt May making a sandwich section of the game. They probably had that and took it out at the last minute. But, dude, then Spider-Man goes into the bomb making and gun running hideout of the demons. That was really cool. The stuff that they stole from Fisk. I love that Fisk's name keeps on going throughout almost the entirety of the video game until the very end, when you realize that Osborn is the greater threat. That was very interesting. So Silver Sable shows up at this point, and she's just not having it. She's not having it. She doesn't have her wild pack here. She's just got Sable Incorporated. They don't talk about Simcaria. They don't talk about anything in this game. Just, here's Silver Sable. She's sexy. She got an accent, and she will freaking kill you. And she's got a whole bunch of people working for her. That's all you really need. I don't know what else you would possibly need. Oh, geez. When they're going through that one building, they got to clear the building, and the elevators keep on dropping. And you first learn, you also first learn about Devil's Breath. That was pretty interesting. The Isaac Delaney stuff, looked him up really quick. I'm like, aha! All of that. Go and check out the story, guys. But you first learn about Devil's Breath. You learn that it exists. There's this thing called Devil's Breath, and we got to figure out what's going on. Later on, when you discover what Devil's Breath actually is meant for, and Chris Smoove never realized it because he never bothered to freaking read the note. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So more of MJ and going through Sable's Oscorp guards. Miles Morales with his hacking app, and you have to play Miles, and he's got to hack some things to get through. I love that everybody's got their own thing. At first, MJ's got nothing. And then there's the one part where it's like she's going through and Spider-Man's dropping down and grabbing people. But the thing through Museum alone is like, dude, you've got nothing except your ability to hide. And the game is very forgiving. I imagine there must be a hard feature where they could be backwards but turn their head a little bit. Ah, I see you. You know, I got GPS. Just, wow. I can imagine how hard that's going to be. But I guess this was just regular mode for the sake of the story. But wow, man, this was so good. And later on, you know, Miles has the hacking app later, and she winds up getting those little devices that do the little beep, 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 and makes, you know, people, oh, what is that noise? Let me go over here. It's like the little thing for Jaws. Remember Jaws 4? You do the little strobe light, and all of a sudden Jaws jumps up and does the little spin thing. I'm waiting for Mary Jane to be like, okay, I got you. I'm going to stab you with the bow of the boat now. But I did like all of that. When Spider-Man gets stuck in the negative verse, that happened more than once in this game, that was freaking fantastic. Oh my God, I loved that. That was great. Like, both versions were great. There was another one similar to that, but I want to actually get into that when I get there. Going into the bank, they kept on talking about Grand Central Station. I think this was supposed to be a bank, though. When MJ and Spider-Man have to actually team up. That was pretty sick. This was where you really had to learn how to start from the top and go towards the bottom. You know, like the ground floor, you can start taking out all these guards, but you can have snipers shooting at you, and it's going to be near impossible to take all these guys out. Meanwhile, you just take your time. Take your time. And very Arkham Asylum. Oh, I have played Arkham, not the first one, the second one, Arkham City. I actually have that game. I have a PS3. I should probably play that game again one of these days and just stop doing comic book reviews for a week, right? Exactly. But it's kind of like, you know, the Gotham, except it's Spider-Man, and it's more believable that he's just, you know, instead of just constantly gas pellet, you know, shoot the bat grappling hook up and then come back down and whatnot. It's very similar, but it's Spider-Man. He's got his webs and whatnot, and just boom, fly up and boom, and all these different ways of taking people out, hanging them up and stuff like that, and multiple ways of hanging them up. Oh, I'll hang you up upside down. I'll hang you out upside right. I'm going to literally wrap you up like a freaking spider. I'm surprised that Spider-Man just didn't go like, and like, you know, mandible chomp him or something like that, drain his blood. Like this, whew. Just because you're mashing the buttons the same way every time doesn't mean that you're going to get the same effect at the end. This game is glorious in that regard. It's very difficult to get bored by using the same old moves all the time. When Batman gets a new set of moves, you're like, yes, finally a new set of moves, but you spam it enough times, it's like, eh. But here, there were so many combinations and so many different maneuvers, graphics for each maneuver. You know, it's like, okay, I'm going to wrap this, like I said, I'm going to wrap this guy up. There are like 3 or more different ways to wrap somebody up and have them suspended from a rafter or the side of a building or something like that. And there's so many more things you could do than just that. You know, different ways to web people up. Freaking amazing. I absolutely loved that. And again, all the different kinds of webs that came from Dan Slott's head. You know, I'm going to have the all these different, you know, like the electrified web, and I'm surprised they didn't do the fire retardant web, you know, with the building and whatnot, when the buildings kept catching on fire. So Otto winds up creating his arms at one point, and that's another cool point, is that you don't have to only play it as Spider-Man. You have to play as Peter Parker once in a while and do your own thing. You have to science with Otto Octavius. That was awesome, and they're pretty easy puzzles to do. You know, it's just a matter of actually finding the patterns. I dug it. Like those are little games that I wouldn't mind doing. Those little mini games, I would love to do those. Something else that I noticed about this game is a lot of people saying no microtransactions and things like that. No microtransactions. That's freaking awesome, because that's the cheapest, crappiest, scummiest way to get money from people. It's like, oh, just spend, you know, just give us $2 and we'll give you an extra, you know, bar on your web float. No, you can get that stuff, but you got to earn it. Chris didn't go into exasperating detail showing us how we actually do the upgrades and whatnot, but whatever. You got to see every time he leveled, he did the other stuff. There was a whole bunch of side missions. He didn't do pretty much any side missions. And if you do all these side missions, you level up more. I think he was level 34 when he beat the game. I imagine you could easily go to 100 when you're going to beat the game, you know? And then I could just imagine what's up. But that final battle, I don't know upgrading is going to help, because that was very specific. But the Devil's Breath is stolen at one point. The Rikers Island breakout, that was a cool one also, because you're constantly going back to help out certain cops. The Warden at one point. Let's see, Dr. Octopus. What is this? The Sinister Six with the Devil's Breath. The Feast Fire. So at the end of the Rikers Island breakout, that's when the Sinister Six fully forms. There was just the 5 guys at first. I'm like, they're missing somebody. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Oh, no. Oh, no. And for the last, like, minute of him fighting these guys, and I knew it was going to be Otto. I'm like, they're going to rush this. They're going to rush ahead. They're not going to show his breakdown. They're just going to show him broken down. So sure enough, that's exactly what they did. And when you saw the hand just come up and grab him, like, oh no. And it kind of broke my heart, because you know that Otto's got to be a bad guy at some point or another. But, oh, so good. So good. And if you guys read the same Iron Man comic I read, I don't remember which issue it was, but I think it was from volume 1. Just, you know, they went back to the original renumbering. I don't remember. But one of these days I will talk about it. I have to. When Otto Octavius was proving that he was actually smarter than Tony Stark. That was a badass comic book. That was a badass comic book. So when they're ready to do if they were to follow my idea, my concept of keeping New York City, but doing a whole bunch of other stuff also, yeah, man, I would love to see Dr. Octopus gets out of prison and he's doing all these other things and whatnot. And one of the things he's doing is he gets to be a bad guy in the Iron Man game. That would be fantastic. Wow, that would be good. He doesn't even have to be the final boss, but he definitely have to be one of the main bosses, you know? At the very least, for like a super sensitive side mission, that would be amazing. A recommended side mission. Miles saves Peter by grabbing the web when when Spider-Man is falling in that fire, he's trying, and Mary Jane comes in. Like, that was the moment where because the whole time I'm thinking what I think everybody's thinking. Mary Jane's going to get herself in trouble at some point. Spider-Man's going to have to come and rescue her, and it's going to piss me off. Because, like, you're putting yourself in harm's way. Just leave it to the guy with superpowers. Hello? But at one point, she does come in, and she breaks down that wall, and that's what is able to lead to Miles and Aunt May being rescued from the Feast Foundation. And Spider-Man goes and falls, and like his last ditch effort, unconscious, shoots a web up, but he misses what he was aiming for. But Miles goes over and grabs it. That was a seriously feel-good moment for me, you know, because they already had the little boxing match where Miles got that hit off and everything. So that was cool. Icarus, the idea that Icarus is this project that's gonna, if I could just figure out what Icarus is, then boom, I'm golden. And it turns out that all of that was just a plot to get, what's his name, to get Spider-Man in a certain spot so that Otto Octavius could blow the damn building up. All of that with Icarus, just to say, no, it was just so I could kill you. So you think about what Icarus is, who Icarus was in the old Greek tales. He's the guy, he had his father or his grandfather, I think his grandfather, they were both in jail, and they had to create these wings to escape. And there's made of actual bird feathers and wax and some string. It's like, don't get too close to the sun because the wax will melt. Don't get too close to the sea because the seawater will destroy the wings in and of themselves. You have to stay at an even pace, but the kids just... And they always say, Icarus, he got too close to the sun. But he also got too close to the water, too. The idea is... the idea is getting too close to something. So the whole Icarus thing was just to lead Spider-Man to this one specific spot. Like, he could have put an X on the floor, for crying out loud. Of course, Spidey gets out, so it did seem a little bit wasted. But I like the idea that there were plans within plans. And that immediately leads him to having to fight the Vulture and Electro. That was really cool. I really dug that. So, and that was a badass fight in and of itself. Later on, he comes across the Scorpion, and he gets poisoned. Now, this is the other thing, much like the negative verse that I was talking about, this poisoned verse. Oh my God. Did you guys notice the Ditko world? Ditko is known for a couple of things in the Spider-Man and Doctor Strange verse. One is his obsession with this hand gesture, right? This Doctor Strange doing this, and this is Spider-Man spinning the webs, right? He's big on, you know, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I love you! He said that one time in Piper's Pit. But, the world, the Nightmare Realm, in that first original, what was it? Tales of Suspense? No, Strange Tales, the original Strange Tales series where Doctor Strange was introduced, right alongside of Nick Fury. Nick Fury's Howling Commandos was a series that was in the the Strange Tales stories. So Doctor Strange is there, and he has to go down into the Nightmareverse to rescue, like, these 10 guys who got stuck in the Nightmare Realm. And Nightmare shows up, but there's all these crazy things hanging, these big they look like molecules everywhere. And it was an amazing imagery. And that's when people were like, dude, I need to see more of this Doctor Strange guy. I don't care how. Stan Lee didn't even believe in Doctor Strange. By his own admission, he didn't believe in Doctor Strange. He had a couple ideas for him, but he's like, I don't think this is going to sell. So he wouldn't even put it on the front cover most of the times. Frickin', you got to see the Doctor Strange verse in a very abstract way, and definitely not as actual Doctor Strange, but the way that he was tripping, the way that Peter Parker, Spider-Man, was tripping, that was such a tribute to Ditko right there. My heart melted. Absolutely loved that idea. And he had to go and get that one yucca plant and then the etropine and then go to a place back to the lab to mix them together. That was really cool. That was so damned cool. So Miles versus Rhino was amazing. Because, like, here's this cat. It's like, you know, Miles doesn't have a chance. So he's got to try to escape. And barely. Like, there were a couple moments where I'm like, oh, come on. Dude, come on. And, like, when he breaks through that one grate and he starts reaching down, you see his face. It's like he saw him. Game jigs up. The game's over. Got you. You're dead. But no, he just barely missed him. That was really good. That was so good. Even when he got to safety, I was still thinking, nope, Rhino's going to show up at some point. I was freaked. But instead, there was those two guys who broke out from Rikers who weren't captured by Spider-Man. They ruffle up this guy, and the guy just gets up and runs. And, you know, like Miles was told, don't get yourself into trouble. There's two of them. Well, there was only one at the time. And then, Miles said something. The guy ran away. So then the Riker's prisoner is like, you messed up, kid. And all of a sudden, here comes this other prisoner out. And Miles, like he thought at first he was just going to walk away, but he can't. He can't not be a hero. Gotta love that about Miles, man. Gotta love that. So he gets into it and does the same thing with that awesome right hook and just hits him on the side of the jaw and knocks the dude out. And the other guard's like, not a one anymore. And I keep on saying guard. The other former inmate, escaped inmate, he's like, nope, I'm out. Good going, kid. That was awesome. And then almost immediately after we get Spidey versus Rhino, and then very quickly the Scorpion also. The whole battle was really sweet. I dug that. And you could see, I noticed it, of course, right away with the Kingpin, but it was especially glaring versus the Shocker. And then here it was also pretty glaring too. The tropes, that one of the reasons why I don't usually like to play video games is the boss battles. They're differently the same. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing, they're uniquely similar, I should say. They're always the same thing where it's like, okay, you can't just button mash these guys. You got to do something and then wait. An opportunity will open. You have to take the opportunity, and then you go and you could hit a couple times and you got to get away, wash, rinse, and repeat. And it's like, dude, that's boring to me. That's exceedingly boring. So I'm never a fan of having to look for patterns to beat a boss and things like that. That's just too much for me. That's just too much for me. Plus, we know that Spider-Man holds back. So, in my opinion, it's like, why is he holding back when fighting a boss when he knows that they could take it? Especially somebody like Rhino. Oof. And again, no matter how hard he hits him, he's not going to be able to hurt him. But still, that battle was cool. I really dug it. Like, this was the the boss battle that I really liked the most. This was the best boss battle to me in the entire game. The problem was the ending was so flat. Like, he trapped them both tricked them to be trapped inside of a shipping container and then just put a single web up on there. Dude, what, are you freaking kidding me at this point? A shipping container? Rhino's in there, damn it. Do you think this thing is made out of adamantium? Because that might, even if it's secondary adamantium, that might hold him. Might. Even the Scorpion, how are you going to hold him with a freaking shipping container? What? So that was a bit much for me, but whatever. Up until that point, it was an amazing battle. I just wish they could have found another way to end it. So, MJ goes into Norman Osborn's penthouse and grabs a stun gun. So now she's got a new trick. She got stun guns and these stupid little beep, 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 sonar sound activation devices. So that was really cool. Harry Osborn, ding, 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 the Harry Potter theme song. I loved the idea of how she got up there, and she's, of course, helping some people out along the way. Love how she got up there. I love that Sable is just an idiot. Twice, she's going to go up and should I investigate this a little bit further? Nah, it's just MJ back there. Like, MJ is able to just duck her every single time. What's up with that? But this was the thing that really killed me. And if I wasn't so far through this game already, through this playthrough that I was watching, I would have turned away from Chris' move. Just because, there was no intellectual curiosity there whatsoever. There was one thing in this game. There was a couple little things where you could read this, that, and the other thing. But, most of these kinds of games, they've got, here's like the Resident Evil ones. I've seen Lewis from the Geek Fortress go through the Resident Evil games, and there's so many things you got to read, so many notes and journals and blah, blah, blah. And there's a couple other games that he's played also that I've watched where it's just journal after journal entry after journal entry, and a lot of them, for the most part, don't really do much. Like, who cares? Can you have the highlights on some of these things? But there was only one thing to read in this game, really, and it wasn't long at all, and it flashed on the screen for maybe 3 or 4 seconds. I had to pause it, had to go back 3-4 times to try and catch it at the right moment, so I could read the whole thing. And basically, it was talking about Harry didn't go on a vacation. He has a cellular I think I actually wrote it down. What was it? Neurodegeneration. So his nerves were falling apart. He wasn't going to be able to have any kind of feeling. Therefore, walking would have been nigh impossible. Dude was just jacked up, and he was going to go into a treatment for a while. So, hey guys, MJ and Pete, if you're reading this, if my dad gives you this to read, that's how come I always had to, leave a party early or, whatever. I just didn't have any energy because I'm dying. So, yeah, this is why. So I'm not actually going away for a European vacation. I'm actually going in for, this treatment. On top of this is also where we find out that Devil's Breath was actually created. Because you're saying, why would Osborn create this Devil's Breath thing? Is he trying to kill everybody? No. He's trying to cure his son. Devil's Breath was meant to be a cure for his son. The problem is, it's dangerous to other people who don't have neurodegeneration. So that was actually kind of interesting. That was very interesting. And Smoove had no interest in reading that little tiny blurb. That killed me. If this were toward the beginning of the game, I don't care how many recommendations this cat had, I would have gone someplace else. I would just be like, nope, check it out someplace else, man. But, yeah, anyway. So that was very interesting. Devil's Breath was created in order to cure Harry. So that's why they didn't even make an anti-serum to Devil's Breath, because it wasn't meant to be as a weapon. It was meant to cure Harry. Why would you find a cure for a cure? Exactly. So now all of a sudden the entirety of the game makes sense. Every single thing that's happening in the game now makes perfect sense. So at this point they have to chase after the cure, because they did realize later on, it's like, okay, we need to make a cure. This is really messed up, dude. Oh, geez, how can I forget? That jump from the roof, that Hail Mary jump that MJ did off of the roof, hoping that Peter was going to catch up to her. I knew he was going to save her, of course, but in my head, I'm just like, oh my God. Oh Lord. Like I was nervous for it. That was beautiful. And Sable looking on, man, that was something. But at one point, Silver Sable and Spider-Man have to kind of team up to go after Mr. Negative, but the team up is just more of a mutual respect thing. You go your way, I'll go my way. I'll cover your tracks. That sort of a thing, I'll watch your back. She doesn't actually go with him to help, and that's a shame, because they weren't going to be able to, the idea of Spider-Man defeating all these guys is insane by himself. But anyway, you get to realize Norman's part in all of this. One of the coolest parts here is that while MJ was in that office, in the penthouse, that little lab part behind where the picture was, I love that whole scene, man. I love that whole scene. The only way that scene could have been any better, like how she was trying to find how to get into that secret lab, is if she had to hide inside of a cardboard box and move the cardboard box and stick the stun gun outside the cardboard box and just stun people that way once in a while. That would have been like, the Metal Gear game. It's the only way that this scene could have been any better. But at one point, the spider lands on her, and she thinks she brushed it off, but she didn't. It's actually nesting on her. I love it. And she's wearing a leather jacket, so yeah, she wouldn't notice. So I loved that. That was great, because especially the spider goes over and winds up biting Miles. So we got to see his origin. Obviously, I know in the Ultimate Comics, it's actually the same spider that bit Peter Parker is the same spider that bit Miles Morales. I know. I'm okay with this new version. 100% okay with this new version of the story. Totally okay with this. Wow, that was awesome. But, hey, kudos to Brian Michael Bendis, the creator of Miles Morales. But, wow, this was good. This was good. And in watching this, I also realized what horrible people we are as fans. No. You too. All of us. We're all evil, horrible people. Why? Because he's pulling up these 3 boxes, and we know the spider is down there, and it's freaking Miles, and all of us are rooting, get the by the spider! Get bit by the spider! And he was, and we're like, yes! Yes, yes! We're all happy for it, right? Freaking, it reminds me of when I was watching the first season of Luke Cage, when towards the end, Misty gets shot in the arm, and it's like, they're like, oh man, we gotta get you to the hospital soon, or you're gonna lose the arm. And like, she got shot in the arm, she's gonna lose the arm. She didn't get blown up in the bank, but it's fine. She's gonna lose the arm. It's gonna be awesome. And what do you call it? She wants it once the arm actually gets healed. We're just like, what? Oh man, that's messed up. She's supposed to lose the arm because we wanted to get the bionic arm. And then the Defenders, spoilers, when she actually gets her arm chopped off, we're like, she's gonna, yes. Like we're so happy to root for the pain of these people because we want to see the origin story of how she's gonna get the arm, how Miles is gonna, get his powers and stuff like that. Oh, we're such horrible people. We're so macabre. We're so macabre, dude. Oh, whatever. Moving on. So Peter Parker gets this new black suit, and it's totally awesome, dude. But he's got to use this suit. Using these different suits was, I guess, I get it. I get it. You need to be able to do different things when you're fighting against these guys, but So he's got to use these, and this is like the only new suit that Chris actually used in this game. But he used the suit. He goes after Dr. Octopus. I loved how they're fighting on the side of the building at the end. It was because Peter Parker also lost his web shooters, and Ock lost one of his arms. So he's got to use two of the arms to balance, or not just to balance, but to stay on the building. And then one arm he can actually try and attack Peter with. So this was like the final boss battle. The final stage of the boss battle, and it was just so redundant. It's like, oh, I'm going to catch you, and I'm going to slam you into the wall, and then I'm going to let you go if you do something wrong. That happened 2, 3, 4, 8 times, whatever, I don't know. I think it was like 3 times. And I was like, okay, this is boring. If I'm Dr. Octopus, why don't I just grab him and crush his head, or smash him into the wall a couple more times, or bring him up and or just throw him behind you and let him fall to his death. You broke his web slingers, dude. So, yeah, that was just kind of redundant. It's like, oh, if you get hit, I'm going to smash you against the wall and keep you there because no more web slingers, man. If I throw you, you're done. But, you can stick to the wall, so I'm going to stick you back to the wall. That was really a big letdown for me, that final part of the boss battle. Huge letdown, but the very end of it, though. Oh, and the conversation with Dr. Octopus at the end also. I know they were trying to go for the really sad moment. It went on for too long, way too long. Meanwhile, here comes the major messed up spoiler. I'm going to say it right now. Aunt May dies. Peter has the choice to make, and it's not really even a choice. You don't even get to make the choice. It's not like you get an alternate ending. He's got to make a choice. Save Aunt May with this one dose of anti-poison, anti-venom, whatever the hell it's called, the serum, the antidote. Yeah, antidote. Or use that as the sample that you need in order to save the people. You can't split it in any way. That's the exact dose that's needed to either save one person or to recreate it. So, yeah, he struggled there. Again, you didn't even get a choice. It was automatic, but Aunt May winds up dying. And I cried. I cried like a little bee. I'm just like, but the conversation was just really short. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, man, the conversation with Ock was really long. And I didn't get anything out of the thing with Ock, I didn't get that because the whole Peter loving Dr. Octopus wasn't really established, at least not in the playthrough that I'd seen. It was established that Doc loved Peter, but it wasn't really this big thing like, oh, Peter worships Dr. Octopus. No, I didn't really get that from the game, so it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, when she died, that was really messed up. The thing with MJ in the end was kind of okay. I'm kind of like the whole time like, oh, finally, these two stupid kids are going to get together. Yay. It's about time. Stop being stupid, you stupid kids. You know what I'm saying? Go and make babies. Renew your vows. That comic. But, then they had the thing with Miles where he shows Peter that he's, guys, I love the, okay, well, at this age, you're going to go through changes. This ain't a puberty talk, dude. All right? I'm not talking about little hairs that I'm getting all of a sudden. What do you call it? So he jumps up on the roof or on the ceiling, and Peter jumps up also, so they expose each other's identity, so to speak. Yeah, that was really cool. I dug that. Plus, in the, yeah, it was in this book. They kind of expound on that a little bit more. They expound on Dr. Octopus, his neurodegenerative disease just expands even worse. You know, it gets even worse. So he can barely even walk at this point. He can't even stand upright. All of that. That was really cool. I can't wait to see where they're going to go with that in this book also. Just saying. And then there was the end credits scene, which Chris had to put up afterwards, where you see Harry Osborn is in the tank, and his father Norman comes up and he's like, "I love you, son," and he puts his hand on there, and you can tell it's like, okay, something's gonna happen. He's gonna put his hand up there. No, instead there's like this web that kind of goes up there instead. I'm like, okay, that's weird. So a bunch of people in the comments were saying that it's gonna be Venom. You know, he's gonna be Venom. If they do that, I'm gonna be radically disappointed. I'm gonna be extremely disappointed if that's what they're just gonna make him Venom. That would be just weak, all right? Eddie Brock is Venom. Don't get silly on me, okay? In fact, the next game could be Venom instead of Spider-Man. Make it Venom. You know, why not? But either way, this was a beautiful game. This was a genuinely gorgeous game. Hard to find fault in it, you know, except for like the things that I actually found fault in. Such an incredible game, amazing story. This was like, it wasn't an event, but this was like a 6-issue limited series, 8-issue limited series, maybe a 12-issue limited series. I would say 8, more like 8. But this was just great. So I definitely enjoyed reading this, reading it. I usually read my comic books. I definitely enjoyed watching this video game version of my comic books. It was great. It was great. That being said, consider buying it. if you're a video gamer, I would definitely consider getting this game. Plus, I didn't get to see any of the DLCs. I may. What do you mean I may? I'm pretty sure that when I have a little bit more time, I will go and check out those DLCs. I would love to see some of the side quests and see all this stuff, because like all of that stuff, it just adds to the story. It enhances. You know, they're the tie-ins. They're the comic book tie-ins, right? So yeah, I do want to see all of those things. Will I actually buy the game? I'd have to buy a PS4 to do that also, and I just don't see that happening. Like I said, I'm not very good at video games, so we'll see. We'll see. Play it on, like, is there an easy mode? Is there a, practically crippled, you know what I'm saying, playing video games mode? Because I'm kind of like a video game invalid. I'm not great. Anyway, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Tell me, I'm pretty sure that most of you guys did indeed play the game, because a lot of you guys were telling me, dude, go play the game. So tell me your experiences playing the game. Tell me some of your favorite moments. I'm genuinely curious because, like I said, I'm sure there were some things, and all I could see were the things that he showed me, So tell me what I missed. Tell me what's cool. All right, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.